Chapter 17:16 Mechanical Transformation. Lu Kuoran asked Uncle Yu to sit on a chair and poured him a glass of water. Uncle Yu, if you need my help, just ask. Lu Kuoran looked at Uncle Yu and said. Uncle Yu slowly raised his head. His eyes were full of complicated emotions, and after thinking for a long time, he opened his mouth. Miss Lu, I feel that I am too weak now. I have already held everyone back. Lu Kuoran waved his hands quickly. No, Uncle Yu. How can you say such a thing? Uncle Yu stretched out his hand to stop Lu Kuoran from comforting him. Don't comfort me. I'm this age, and I'm not a child who needs comfort. I know that I'm not capable enough. Lu Kuoran didn't know what to say for a while. To be honest, the gap between the talents of their team is indeed too huge. Compared with Zhang E, they are all ordinary people, and can even be said to be very bad. However, among them, Uncle Yu and Fatty Su's talents seem to be the most useless. Although Lu Kuoran, Yang Xinxin, Zhou Kuer, and Yang Xie cannot directly participate in the battle, their auxiliary abilities will always have room for development. It just so happens that Uncle Yu and Fatty Su both have combat abilities, but they are unable to help Zhang E in the battle. This is very embarrassing. Brother Zhang, you won't care about these things. After all, we are a family now, aren't we? Lu Karen continued to comfort him. Uncle Yu smiled and said, Yes, Zhang E is a good guy. He has never despised us, but can I let him support me with peace of mind? He looked at Lu Karen with burning eyes, and there was a flame of unwillingness in his eyes. I'm already 49 years old, and I haven't achieved much in my life. The most glorious time was the time I followed Jang E. But I don't feel old yet. I even feel that I'm still very young and can still shine. He clenched his fists, and because he was too strong, it made a crunching sound. I would rather use my limited life to do something meaningful. I don't want to live a life of mediocrity and die in a hospital bed. So, Miss Lu, I hope you can help me. After listening to this, Lu Kuoran was also moved by the strength in Uncle Yu's words. She took a deep breath. Okay, I understand. I will upgrade your armor later, and also tailor your weapons for you. No, that's not enough. Uncle Yu raised his hands and looked at his rough and powerful arms and palms. The limitations of mechas are too great. Exoskeleton armor can only improve combat effectiveness, but it can't make people achieve a qualitative breakthrough. When it comes to real fighting, it's more practical to use your own body. Lu Kuoran suddenly frowned, and she vaguely guessed what Uncle Yu was going to do. Uncle Yu? Uncle Yu continued, I heard that the Cartiers of the Colombian Navy transformed his body to gain powerful strength, right? He looked at Lu Kuoran with an extremely firm gaze. Miss Lu, you are a mechanical genius. You can definitely do it, right? Lu Karen's eyes became serious. She could feel Uncle Yu's determination from his eyes, but this kind of thing is no joke. Once the transformation begins, it will eventually become an irreversible process. Even in the end, you don't know how much of your body still belongs to you, or even completely turns into a machine. In this era, there is indeed the concept of cyborgs, but it is used on soldiers who are disabled because of war. After the end of the world has changed, and you can do anything to gain power. To transform ordinary people, use drugs, machines, and all kinds of terrifying superpowers. But Lu Karen is not a crazy evil scientist after all, and it is difficult for her to do it to her own people. Uncle Yu, do you know what this means? It is possible that after the transformation, you will slowly lose your humanity. Uncle Yu chuckled. I have such an awareness in my heart. And I don't plan to completely mechanize my body. My talent is limited. Even if Zhang E gives me a lot of resources, I can't become a first-class strongman. But I believe in the power of technology. When facing the terrifying aliens of the Wulwan Empire, can't humans also fight against the god of death of love? So, my ability is not enough. Just use technology to make up for it. Uncle Yu stood up, with a determination on his face that was not afraid of death. Miss Lu, let me be your test subject. Treat me as a weapon template and give full play to your destructive talent. Transform as strong as you can. Lu Karen hesitated, but will my brother and Aunt Jo agree? Uncle Yu smiled brightly, showing a mouthful of white teeth, and pointed his thumb at himself. How to use my body, I still have the power to decide. There was a trace of worry in Lu Karen's eyes, but her heart was beating very fast because of an unspeakable excitement. She is a genius in the field of mechanics, and biomechanical science is also an area she has always been eager to study. The development of the sword in the tree also falls into this category. However, who can resist using real humans for experiments? If you want to be more powerful, you must be prepared to be a non-human. I will use the toughest E-metal to reshape your bones, inject nanorobots into your blood vessels, make many holes in your body, and even use your blood vessels as pipelines for launching ammunition and energy cannons. Even in theory, your heart can be replaced with an artificial blood pump, your skin can be changed in material, and your brain can be replaced with a supercomputer. But that will be very painful, and once the experiment begins, I have no way to restore you to your original state. Even so, Uncle Yu, do you still choose to transform? Uncle Yu's eyes were firm, and he nodded slowly. Some people have died long ago, but they were buried a little late. He didn't want to live a meaningless life. He didn't want his life to pass by like a Sunday afternoon. He didn't want to spend the rest of his life just watching Zhang E and his men fight silently from behind. That would be endless torment for him. Everything is up to you, Miss Liu. Chapter 17 Conflict in the Southwest Region. In the next few days, Zhang E devoted himself to rebuilding Tianhai City, and he began to vigorously cultivate the Fueying Force. With the almost inexhaustible alien essence training base of the Centipede Farm, it is very easy to let talented aliens reach the captain level. Of course, Zhang E will not waste these resources on ordinary people. Even members of the Fueying Force need to be given corresponding resource rewards according to their potential. During this period, the members of the original Tengu squad naturally received rewards from Zhang E. For example, Bailey Chongqing, an alien who has already reached the captain level, is now close to the limit of the Delta level, and the ability index has reached 9,900 points. The negotiations between the various regions are still not over. Mainly on Zhu Zhang's side, all the major regions, including the National Defense Army, asked him to provide a large amount of resources to make up for his previous mistakes. Zhu Zhang agreed to compensate, but the amount of resources to be compensated is still being negotiated with all parties. In any case, Zhu Yu's strength is now strong enough. According to Zhang Yi's estimation, after absorbing the essence of 2 black chariots and 2 white chariot-level aliens, her ability index can reach at least 20,000 plus. The exact number of points is still unclear, but it is definitely not a threat to Zhang Yi now. The biggest advantage of Yuan Kongya's ability is rapid evolution, not strong combat power. She can absorb the abilities and essences of many aliens, allowing herself to upgrade without too much effort. However, this kind of miscellaneous ability is not necessarily a good thing. Theoretically, she has no weaknesses in her abilities, because she has the abilities of almost all current attributes at the same time. However, she is not too outstanding. Zhang E will pay attention to her, but he is not afraid of her. After the war, the aliens from various regions who were recuperating in Blizzard City began to return one after another. Zhang E originally thought that he could finally usher in a period of calm days. But he did not expect that soon. A piece of news that made everyone furious came to his ears. The funeral masters of the Southwest region, the brothers Juegua and Luo Zhua, were attacked after returning to the Southwest region. The wounds of the funeral master have not been completely healed yet. When he entered Sarah City, he was attacked by 2 Ypsilons who suddenly appeared. If he did not have the ability of the Snow Mountain Condor and turned into a golden light and flew away, it would be a big problem whether he could survive. The 2 brothers fled all the way to the Jiangnan district and immediately sent a message for help to all the districts. Zhang E also learned the news at the first time. At this time, his injuries had healed. After all, he only suffered a little skin injury, and he was accompanied by Shou Kier, a high-level Delta medical alien. Juegua and Luo Zhua knew him for a long time, so they contacted him directly. Sir Chaos, something happened in the Southwest District, and external forces invaded. I hope you can lend us a hand. Zhang Yi's eyes flashed with shock and anger. External forces invaded? Do you mean humans or other creatures? He remembered that the Nash kingdom had been completely destroyed by them. Could it be that there are still remnants, or are there other underground civilizations that have not been cleared? But if it were humans, how dare they invade at this time and risk the world's disapproval? Zhang E felt that the current Huashu kingdom had blocked the attack of the underground civilization, which was a great achievement from the perspective of humanity as a whole. This indirectly protected other countries. Although Huashu kingdom suffered heavy losses, and its strength temporarily declined due to the casualties of top aliens. But anyone who invades at this time is extremely shameless. Luo Zhuo's voice was filled with anger. It's the aliens of Bharata. A sharp gleam flashed in Zhang Yi's eyes, and murderous intent burst out. It turned out to be them. When the Wulwan Empire was about to invade, they asked for help from the major powerful forces in the world. Bharata and Huashu Kingdom are close at hand. If Huashu Kingdom fell, they would also face a huge crisis. Originally, they should have sent people to support them, but those guys directly refused. That's fine, but now they dare to take advantage of the fire, which is extremely shameless. Zhang E gnashed his silver teeth and sneered. What a group of despicable and shameless guys. They really deserve their reputation. The people of Bharata have always been famous in the world for their double-dealing and treacherous style. In peacetime, people know that they should be extra careful when doing business with the Bharata people because they can easily be cheated by them. Moreover, the people of this nation are extremely arrogant. Since they were severely beaten by Huashu Kingdom a century ago, they have always regarded Huashu Kingdom as an enemy and secretly calculated. It is not surprising that something like this happened today. Where are you now? Wait for me to pick you up. After Zhang E confirmed the location of the two, he put on his equipment directly, opened the dimensional door, and went there. Not long after, he came to the border of Jiangnan district and found Luo Zhuo and Zhu Guo in a ruin. The two brothers did not look very good at this time. Luo Zhuo leaned against a corner of the wall, covering his shoulder with one hand. The clothes there has been stained red with blood. Zhu Guo was lying on the ground. His breath was a little weak. After the Songjia temple was destroyed, the power of faith in the southwest region was also much weaker. After the two merged, they were only at the level of ordinary black chariots, no longer the invincible master of the funeral. But even so, the two should not be so embarrassed. They were almost killed. Zhang E walked over, and the two saw him coming, and their eyes lit up. Lord Chaos. Zhang E said, Don't talk. Come back with me to heal first. He didn't expect the two to be so seriously injured, otherwise he would have taken Zhou Kur with him. However, Zhang E still injected the two with drugs, and then took them back to the shelter in Tianhai City quickly. The two were handed over to Zhou Kur for treatment, and soon Zhou Kur stopped the bleeding for them, allowing them to recover some of their vitality. The complexion of the two improved slightly. It is not so easy to kill an Epsilon-level alien. Zhang E said, Take a good rest first, and then tell me what happened. Unexpectedly, Luo Zhuo shook his head and said, It's urgent, I'll tell you now. It turned out that the two of them suddenly received news a few days ago. Their subordinates told them that something had happened in the southwest region. A group of aliens appeared from the other side of the Great Snow Mountain and quickly occupied the entire southwest region. Without Luo Zhuo and Juegua, and without Epsilon in charge, they were powerless to stop it. Chapter 17-18. Fight or not. Juegua and Luo Zhuo's injuries had not yet fully recovered, so they had no choice but to rush back. At this time, since all the major regions were in ruins, some high-level aliens were injured, and some were busy with reconstruction. They were too embarrassed to look for reinforcements, so they rushed back on their own. But I didn't expect that the opponent's strength would be so strong. Juegua sighed. Two aliens appeared. They came from Bharata and represented the strongest members of the Dragon 8 divisions. One is Yiksha and the other is Maharaga. We are injured, and the blessing of the power of tantric faith has been greatly weakened, so we are no match for them at all. At this point, Luo Zhuo smiled bitterly. If they hadn't shown mercy, it would have been difficult for us to escape from them. Zhang E sneered. Show mercy? Could it be that they really dare to kill the aliens of my Huashu country? Zhang Yi's face was already full of murderous intent. This despicable and shameless villain is just like the Jiangdong rats during the Three Kingdoms period. Huashu country stood at the forefront of the human confrontation with the alien race. Countless aliens risked their lives and died on the battlefield. And they actually backstabbed at this time? The aliens of Barada would hold back, probably because they knew in their hearts that it was immoral to do so. Luo Zhua also said, they did say so. They said that my Huashu country had just experienced war, and the aliens were weak. They came to help us protect the southwest region. They will definitely return it one day. Hearing this, Zhang Yi's sneer became louder. It's ridiculous. It's obviously a shameless backstab, and what high-sounding excuses are you looking for? If the territory is really occupied by them, can you still expect them to come back? Luo Zhua and Juegwa looked at each other, their eyes full of helplessness. Today's southwest region is far behind other regions in technology. Over the years, a lot of manpower and material resources have been consumed due to internal struggles. At least there was the power of faith of Tantra to bless the top combat power. But now this advantage has completely disappeared. After the rise of the former Jiangnan region, they became the weakest among all the regions. Zhang E looked at the two of them and said calmly, without the blessing of the power of tantric faith, the loss for you would be too great. How about rebuilding Sangha temples? Luo Zhua's face straightened and he said solemnly, no. Sangha temple has been a symbol of the exploitation of the people by tantric Buddhism and the nobility for thousands of years. It must not be rebuilt. Zhang E said, we can talk about those things in peacetime, but now the most important thing is to have strength. Otherwise, what can you use to protect the people of the southwest region? Faith is in the heart, but some people have misinterpreted it. Now the final right of interpretation of tantric teachings is in the hands of you two brothers. What are you worried about? Zhang E said here, his eyes turned, and he suddenly smiled. Besides, although I don't understand what the power of faith of your tantric Buddhism is. But Luo Zhua, you are not the head of the new management organization now, right? You can completely set up a new tantric Buddhism. In short, isn't it enough to absorb people's faiths? These words opened the door to a new world for Luo Zhua and Juegwa, and the two lowered their heads thoughtfully. Zhang Yi stood up. Now you should rest here. I can't guarantee anything else. Stay here. No one can hurt you unless Bai Longzi comes. I'll go talk to the top leaders of each region. Zhang Yi turned around, his eyes like knives. See how to kill those Barada bastards. Zhang Yi's tone was very heavy. This time he was really angry. Such shameless behavior made even a Buddhist man like Zhang Yi angry. Mr. Chaos, please. The two looked at his back and said sincerely. Zhang Yi immediately came to the living room, and at this time the news of the top leaders of each region had been arranged in a long list in his intelligence system. Zhang Yi didn't say anything and directly initiated a video conference. Soon, the projections of the top leaders of each region appeared in the living room. Zhang Yi said straight to the point. Everyone, have you heard about the southwest region? Everyone's face was not very good. This kind of shameless behavior of stabbing back was intolerable to anyone with a little morality. Han Shanzhua, who was still wrapped in bandages, started to curse, fuck those curry bastards. I was fighting with the aliens, and it would be fine if they didn't help me. I thought they were cowards. But they took the opportunity to occupy our land. Damn it. Li Changgong also said with a gloomy face. It's not the first day they have been thinking about that area. After all, we still underestimated their shamelessness. Xuanwu looked at Meng Yuanjun. Can we ask the International Federation to mediate this matter? In this coalition, all the top forces sent people. Even a distant country like Britannia symbolically sent a few Delta-level aliens to at least show their attitude. Barada's behavior will definitely be despised by the whole world. Meng Yuanjun rubbed his chin and said, I will explain this matter to the Federation and condemn Barada. But this is just a standard procedure, to discredit Barada and let people know their true face. But those guys never care about this, and it is impossible for them to return the territory of the southwest region because of this. Xuanwu frowned, and Li Changgong also frowned deeply and said nothing. If negotiations don't work, then there is only fighting. But now, Huashu Kingdom is in ruins, and the top aliens in various regions have also suffered serious injuries. In Shengjing region, Ho Tu and Shang Dawen are recuperating, and Zhang E was directly killed by the gatekeeper of the underworld. The East China Sea region is not much better. Qinglong is dead, and Xuanwu is seriously injured. Now, if there is a conflict with Barada, it will be a heavy burden for Huashu Kingdom. Even it is hard to say whether we can win. In the East China Sea region, the Supreme Commander Li Guangxiao swept his eyes over the crowd and said in a deep voice, "If it really doesn't work, I suggest that the issue be shelved this time. Put pressure on Barada through international channels and let people communicate with them. And armed conflict is not considered for the time being." Many people looked at him with anger in their eyes, but Li Guangxiao said calmly, "We need to recuperate for a while. When we have recovered our strength, we will send out troops and take back the southwest region in one fell swoop." Chapter 1719, Let Me Come. After Li Guangxiao finished his speech, Han Shanzua sneered. "You mean we have to watch our place being occupied by shameless people, and we can only swallow our anger?" Li Guangxiao closed his eyes. "This is all helpless. It is not wise to conflict with them now." Zhang E did not say a few words from beginning to end, but was watching the attitudes of the heads of the major regions. From a rational point of view, there is nothing wrong with Li Guangxiao's words. Although Huashu Kingdom has suffered heavy losses at present, it will not take too long to recover. There is nothing wrong with going to Barodo to settle accounts at that time. However, if everything is analyzed from a rational point of view, then the world is too cold. Zhang E crossed his hands under his chin and looked at the people at the scene with indifference. He was prepared in his heart. No matter what the result of this meeting was, he would go to the southwest region in person. Kill those invading guys. At this time, an unexpected person suddenly spoke up. That is Zhu Zheng. General Li's words do make some sense. But we don't know how long it will take for us to be fully prepared. And in the southwest region, there are still countless people in our Huashu country. Aren't we going to be trampled by others? Zhang E suddenly felt strange. I don't know why, when talking about being bullied by outsiders, everyone showed an indignant look. But since the end of the world, those people in the southwest region have not lived like human beings under the rule of the four chieftains and Songjia Temple. He couldn't help but feel a little funny, but didn't say much. Meng Yuanjun looked at Zhu Zheng with a deep smile on his face. Now that the war is over, all major regions have been damaged, and most of the Ypsilon-level aliens are also injured. But only your Jiangnan region has benefited the most. General Zhu, if we want to launch a military operation against the southwest region this time, your Jiangnan region will have to do more. Everyone looked at Zhu Zheng and nodded. This time, your Jiangnan region has benefited the most. If we have to make a move, you have to make a move. Now, if it weren't for the fact that Zhang E did not belong to any region, the title of the most powerful region in Huashu country could be transferred to the Jiangnan region. Zhu Zheng smiled and said, I was planning to do that. This time, our Jiangnan region can send someone to solve this matter. However, Nu Ba, the newly promoted Ypsilon, is still very inexperienced in combat, so we need someone to help. Zhu Zheng said. His eyes fell on Zhang E. Hundun, I don't know how your body has recovered now. Can you go to the southwest region with Nu Ba to deal with this matter? Zhang E glanced at Zhu Zheng and finally understood what this old guy Zhu Zheng was going to do. Now he is still discussing compensation with the various regions. But if he sends someone to deal with the problem of the southwest region, then this compensation is expected to be written off, or at least a large part of it can be offset. At this time, he also wants to bring Zhang E along. Obviously, letting Zhu Yu lead the team alone is not a worry for him. Everyone turned their attention to Zhang E again. No one was present at the battle, so they didn't know how badly Zhang E was injured. They thought he was as badly injured as Ho Tu, Shang Dawen, and Alexei. Zhang E met Zhu Zheng's expectant eyes, but smiled faintly. I appreciate Zhu Shuai's kindness. However, I don't plan to go with her. Zhu Zheng's smile froze on his face. Zhang E would not give Zhu Zheng the opportunity to be used as a pawn. Moreover, he always had some special feelings for Zhu Yu in his heart. It came from the shadow that Yuan Kong Yi left on him, which made him not want to face Zhu Yu as a person. What's more, Zhu Yu's ability is very special. If Zhang E fights side by side with her, he may expose his own ability characteristics. Maybe the two will become enemies in the future. Zhang E hopes to be reserved in front of her. Is that so? That's a bit regrettable. Zhu Zheng's tone was full of regret. A great opportunity to make up for the various regions was gone. Han Shanzhua couldn't stand it anymore and looked at Zhang E and said, "My friend, you look okay among us now. If you don't want to go, we can't spare any effort." Zhang E rubbed his hands and smiled. "I didn't say I wouldn't go." Everyone was happy, and Zhu Zheng also smiled and asked, "Do you mean you agree?" Zhang E nodded. "I will go to the southwest region and drive those guys back. But it's enough for me to go alone." Zhu Zheng opened his mouth and murmured, "You mean you want to solve this matter yourself?" Meng Yuanjun thought for a while and said, "Now there are two Ypsilons, Zuanv and Qiongqi, under chaos. If the three of them go together, they are indeed a powerful fighting group." At this time, everyone remembered the configuration of Zhang Yi's men again, and the scene fell into silence. Such a fighting team is enough to shake any regional power. Even the fighting power of Tianhai City alone can defeat some of the lower-ranked regions. "Handan, are you okay?" Zhu Zheng asked with a frown on his face, his concern evident in his words.
Zhang E
smiled faintly. "What can happen to me? I didn't get seriously injured in that battle." From beginning to end, he protected himself very well. Except for the last time, the chain of the gatekeeper of the underworld pierced his left chest, but it was only to seal his supernatural power, and he didn't kill him. So it seemed dangerous at the time, but it was actually just a superficial injury. Meng Yuanjuan's eyes lit up. "In other words, you are now in your prime?" Zhang Yi nodded. "Ah, that's right." The eyes of the senior leaders of each major region lit up. How strong Zhang Yi is, they have seen it in the last battle. Looking at the entire Huaxiu kingdom, probably only Ho-Tu can compete with him. To be honest, when Zhang Yi appears in any area with his men, the pressure brought by it is even stronger than that of the Wulwan Empire's alien troops led by Yin Jia. Han Shanzhua let out a long sigh. "Brother, you should have said so earlier." "Now, I am relieved." Zhu Zheng's eyes were thoughtful and finally turned into a barely perceptible sigh. Zhang Yi leaned on the sofa and said lightly, "Leave this matter to me. You don't need to do it. But there are conditions for letting me take action." Chapter 1720. Fueying Gathering. Hearing Zhang Yi say this, Li Changgong rolled his eyes and thought, "Sure enough, it has to be you. Never do business without capital. Tell me, what do you need? But I have to tell you in advance that our northwest region is in ruins, and there are not many resources to supply you." At this point, he looked at Zhu Zheng and smiled, "But your Zhu Shui still owes us a lot of resources." Zhang Yi raised the corners of his lips, waved his hand, and said, "No, I don't need you to provide supplies this time." As soon as these words came out, everyone looked at Zhang Yi with eyes looking at a monster. The Zhang Yi they knew, but he would not pick up anything when he went out, even if it was lost, and never did business at a loss. When have you ever seen him so generous? Because of this, everyone was secretly alert in their hearts, thinking that Zhang Yi would have more requirements. Zhang Yi just looked at the senior officials of each region and said, "This time I am working for Huaxiu State. You know my style of work. If things get too serious, you must be prepared to cover the bottom." Meng Yuanjun looked worried. "Handan, although I don't know what you are going to do, I have a bad feeling in my heart." Han Shanzhua laughed. "Good brother, this time you can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter even if you kill all the invaders." He showed a fierce look on his face. "If Barada really wants to go to war with us, then kill him." Meng Yuanjun thought about it again and knew that what Zhang Yi meant by covering the bottom was that he killed too many people, which led to the outbreak of war between the two countries. At that time, no one should put the blame on Zhang Yi. Li Changgong said, "I, the Northwest region, support you in this matter." They were the first to do it on the first day, so it's no wonder that we do it on the 15th. Chaos. Go and kill those bastards. Let them know that anyone who dares to enter the territory of Huaxiu without permission will never return. The Northwest region and the Southwest region have already expressed their views. Even if Meng Yuanjun and others still have some concerns, Zhang E really needs to take action now. You can't let people work while putting shackles on them. Meng Yuanjun nodded. Chaos. Just let go and do it. Even if you kill all those invaders, Barada now doesn't have the courage to go to war with us. The world is complicated. This time, let's not talk about the fact that Huaxiu has just repelled the invasion of the Wulwan Empire and is in the right. Let's say that there are some rising countries around Barada, eyeing them covetously. It's not so easy to start a full-scale war. Another very important point is that the number of the god of death of love in Huaxiu country is more than 10 times that of Barada. This is also their greatest confidence. Zhang E smiled faintly, his eyes as sharp as a tiger. Since you say so, I feel relieved. As for other resources, Zhang E was indeed generous this time and did not ask for them. It is really that the major regions are too miserable now. They are basically destroyed, and the capital is almost destroyed. Zhang E does not want to snatch steel coins from the beggar's rice bowl. To put it bluntly, the war preparedness resources in his hands may not be inferior to those in the northwest and northeast regions. As for the matter of plucking wool, Zhuzheng alone is enough. Zhang E withdrew from the video conference directly, and then he called everyone in the family and briefly told the matter. After listening, everyone's face showed an angry look. No one would not hate this kind of villain behavior of stabbing in the back. I decided to go to the southwest region. This time, Teacher Liang and I will go together. Zhang E looked at Liang Yu. Liang Yu nodded. Okay. Zhang E touched Huahua's head. Huahua, you stay. Tianhai City has just been peaceful recently. Just in case, you are responsible for guarding the house.
Meow.
Huahua had no objection. Most of the time, it prefers to lie down at home and take a nap. Boss, come back early. Fatty Su looked at Zhang E eagerly. Zhang Yi's mouth curled up slightly. Will you miss me if I leave? Fatty Su quickly straightened his chest and said with a loyal dog's look, Of course, I will miss you very much if I leave you for a second. Zhang Yi smiled and said, Then don't worry about me. This time, you go with me. Fatty Su's smile froze on his face. Huh. Zhang Yi stood up and said to Fatty Su and Uncle Yu, This time, all the fleeing troops will be dispatched. His eyes were deep. We have been training for so long and spent a lot of resources to train them. It's time to take them to the battlefield to see the results. Uncle Yu grinned, showing a mouthful of white teeth, and smiled brightly. That's great. I have long felt that my bones are itching, and I finally have the opportunity to fight a good battle on the battlefield. Zhang E looked at Uncle Yu. He knew that Uncle Yu had undergone Liu Karen's preliminary surgery. If you want to transform your body and become a cyborg, it is not something that can be done in one step. After all, whether the flesh can withstand the machine and merge with it without rejection reaction also needs time to verify. So, at this time, Uncle Yu's body has only undergone the initial stage of transformation, and from the outside it looks the same as a normal person. There is no difference between people. Especially considering Zhou Jaime's feelings, his main function as a man still retains the original version. Zhang E has no opinion on Uncle Yu's transformation. Everything is his own choice. As long as people can live well, everything else can be put aside. In 1 hour, call the fleeing troops to gather at the door. Zhang E gave an order. Yes. Uncle Yu saluted with Fatty Su, and then immediately contacted Bailey Chongqing and others. Zhang E started to change clothes directly. The innermost black battle suit can enhance the basic attributes of the human body, allowing ordinary people to have stronger strength, speed, and reaction ability. The second layer is a new combat suit created by Liu Qian, which has various powerful auxiliary functions and extremely strong self-defense. It can withstand extreme temperatures and pressures and has built-in compressed oxygen. It can maintain the life of the user even if it enters the deep sea or space. The third layer is the Qianlong armor, The metal armor that Liu Qian has continuously transformed, and the enhanced combat suit has a variety of special props and weapons built in, with amazing defense. This is tailor-made for Zhang E, light and easy to use. As for weapons, Zhang E looked at Liu Qian, and Liu Qian said, "Brother, come with me. I have already modified your weapon." The two of them quickly came to the underground studio, and Liu Qian opened a black metal box. In front of Zhang E was a dark silver bracelet that looked deep and heavy, shining with a mysterious luster. Dear viewers, this video ends here. Please subscribe if not already.
Thanks.